from Desert. So I have 111 Press at my comic book store, obviously. Where will we be? Seriously, I know, I'm so sorry.
Where's the bar?
We're in a comic book store?
So let me introduce you.
I'm Drew Yeager. I'm the artist for our flagship title, The 40 Thieves. I believe we're still calling it that, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
at
okay.
this point, yeah.
And one of the 3 founders here of 111 Press.
And this is Adam Sintas.
I'm Adam Sintas. I am the publisher of 111 Press, and I kind of dabble in almost everything else as well.
Hi, I'm Jared Campone. I put words on paper. Yeah, basically, I'm the writer of the stories.
So congratulations, you guys. It's your first comic book that you guys have published, and Comic Sounds exclusive. I'm very, very excited about that. So we had you guys, all 3 of you guys, at a free comic book day. So how does it feel, like having all these people coming up to you taking? Actually, I had one customer. Actually, she was so proud that you took a picture of you guys because it's like, what if they become famous? And I'm like, sure, I know. So I mean, I mean, it's kind of new, but what was the outcome of the free comic book day? How was your experience?
I mean, overall, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I really just enjoyed the fact that everybody was there and they took the time to ask us questions, because that's what really we wanted to do, was just talk with everybody. Like, it's a lot to just even put out a teaser issue like that, and but the response was good. Everybody was like, obviously interested in the story and the art and just what we were doing as a whole. So to me, that was already just the biggest win overall.
So what was the inspiration of the comic book?
I think Adam said he wanted to do something involving the story of the 40 Thieves.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you had read that recently or if it was on your mind for whatever reason.
Yeah, was it on your, like, that's always been your...
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, I was sitting there one night at home and, you know, talking with Mo and stuff, and it just kind of hit me full-fledged of, I want to try to do a title like this and kind of do our own rendition and spin on it. I mean, it's definitely not your traditional 40 Thieves that you're accustomed to. It's very different. It's a very different approach to it.
They're already in the modern time, right? They're not
Correct,
like-
yeah.
I think that was my first comment. I said, hey, that sounds awesome,
Yeah.
but I want to do something modern day rather than like a period piece, because I think my rationing was I didn't want to have to draw like camels and, you know, like
What's wrong with
desert
camels?
dunes. They're just, I don't draw a lot of animals.
Cactus?
So, you know,
Yeah, that's true.
Sand? Okay.
Yeah, so, you know, having to draw like an exotic setting, I was like, no, let's do something a little more modern, you know, with, you know, cars and modern day dress and all that. And so we talked about that. And then as it started to develop, we just kind of came up with this concept, and I don't know how much of that we want to reveal,
Yeah.
but we decided that our main character was going to be a thief.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so we're going to kind of get into this world that we've been brainstorming, and that's what the teaser was meant to be. It was just kind of like just a glimpse.
Yeah.
It was kind of
Like a
told from the
snapshot.
future looking back, and now we're going to kind of go back.
Is there a date that we're gonna see the comic book?
We're finalizing that right now. There's still a lot of work going into the issues that we're working on right now. It's gonna be fall, if anything, late September, early October. I can't really give you a definite date yet. I wish I could, but
No,
yeah.
it's fine. And I'm sure you guys gonna post it on
Yeah,
your social
yeah,
media,
yeah,
and you're
yeah.
gonna
I
post
think-
it as well.
I think what we're up against is we feel confident we'll have the first issue done well in advance of that. I'm currently drawing it. It's, you know, Jared finished writing it weeks ago. I'm currently drawing it. Adam's actually inking some of it right now. But then as we want to make sure that we've got enough of a head start on the next couple of issues, so that it's
Yeah.
not like hey, we put out one, it's anyone's guess when the next one.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
we're just trying to make sure that we give ourselves enough lead time, and we'll kind of know that, I think, maybe the next month. Or
So I have to ask Adam, sorry, why 111 Press? Like, what did that name come about? How did it come about?
There was a lot actually that went into that, because we originally were going to be called something different, and that did not work out due to some copyright things.
Okay.
So we had to get away from that, and so I had texted both of them, and I was like, look, we can't use that name. We need to start shooting out ideas, and I shot out 111 Press or 111 Comics, I think originally is what I said. and we just all liked it, and it actually kind of worked out because technically we all met off of 111 right here.
So what kind of stories will we expect from you? From upcoming? Are we just doing the 40 Thieves that you guys, or is there anything that we're, what is more of your genre, personally? Not
well,
aside for 111 Press.
Well, for me personally, like, I would love to do, I don't know, like a lot of more serious stuff too. I'm not saying that 40 Thieves isn't serious at all.
Mm-hmm.
For me, like, you know, fully heavy tones of just like putting on a bunch of topics basically,
Mm-hmm.
of like very, what's the word for? Very, I guess, broken characters
Mm-hmm.
in that sense, in that way. But overall, for right now, what I want from us coming out is everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Because we at this point, we just want that.
Is it hard to write stories though? Like, how would you even, like, how does it just flow?
I've been writing nearly all my life, and as a writer, it's easy to write, sure. It's come up with ideas and all that, and it's good to have certain formats. But like writing comic books, I've come to realize is very different, because sometimes like literally come up with one panel on like how to do it, or one page and how to properly lay out everything. Where not just where I see you comes out, but if my artist can actually see like what does that look like to him. You know, what does this scene? Because what my scene. What any type of dialogue, I've come to realize, you and I can read the same book, and a certain type of sentence and line, we have different viewpoints on it. But my viewpoint is gonna be different from my artist's viewpoint.
Yeah, and you know, let me add that a little bit aside, because it's hard to find a writer to kind of envision what he's writing, like artist-wise.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys actually have in
Yeah.
sync about this.
Yeah.
That's
It was interesting. The first we did doing this teaser and doing a couple of rough sketches of issue 1, where I'm like, the diva in me, I guess, like, no, that's not how that's not how that panel goes. It looks like this, it looks like that, and like just how much you need to be on the same page with your artist, particularly like compromise. Sure, ego's at the door. This is how it looks like, and even though you know I've heard that whole story of how when any type of fiction writer gets into the game, like, oh, my baby is destroyed because of A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
I get it, I understand it, but like, at the same time, dude, I just want this out there. And for me and my artist to actually be on the same page, I'm like, all right, cool. Compromises, whatever. Let's just get this out the door. Period.
so. Are you happy with the outcome so far?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. It's just for the teaser specifically, it was interesting because my biggest yet was that if you haven't read it yet, is that there was a lot of juxtapositions of scenes. That's it or no?
Yeah, you can say it.
Sure. Of scenes in the future and in the past, and how that plays out, and how I would want, how I would want certain things to handle, because our character in the future is much different from our character in the past, so on and so forth. How that interplay comes on, and so a lot of what is said is more so in the art rather than the words, and so direction in that point has to come from how I can basically say what should be happening in the panel to my artist. And how he can interpret that as well. And of course, we have discussions where his idea is much better than mine, easily. Especially working with a guy like, Andrew Yeager.
This is cute.
I know.
How long? Because obviously, I mean, we saw your teaser, and for a panel, how long is it for you to actually work with one panel? How long?
Shit, depends.
Forever.
Forever?
It's hard to say. My process usually looks something kind of like I've read the script, I've scribbled all my notes in the script, and then I stare at a blank page for what feels like 3 or 4 hours,
Okay.
wondering how am I going to start this. And it's probably more like 20 minutes, but it feels like forever that I'm just sitting there thinking I have no idea what I'm doing here. And then I put the pencil on usually I'll go to my sketchbook, I'll start there and I'll just start doodling something. And as soon as it feels like it's working, I stop working in that sketchbook and I jump on the page and I start laying something in there. A lot of times what I tend to do is, instead of trying to figure out how big to make this panel versus the next one, I just kind of do them, and then I'll just sometimes I'll use Photoshop, but I'll just resize them. That's how I kind of do my layouts. But as far as once I've got that figured out, I try to get a page done a day in pencils. And for me, a day can last somewhere between 6 and 12 hours. It just depends on how much free time I've got.
Wow.
And whether or not things are clicking. And sometimes I tell myself, like, okay, I should stop working on this. It's good. And then I just keep adding detail and detail and detail. And then I realize that I'm neglecting the next page that I probably should have started on 2 hours ago. So it just kind of depends on what's in there. My background's always really been in figure drawing. So if it's figure heavy, it moves a lot faster. If
Speaking of your background, so tell me about, like, did you go to school for it? Did it just come about, like, doing this? Like, were you born with this? Like, just have, like, a little artistic talent?
But I started drawing when I was a kid. I think we watched, I realized that, like, my friends really liked the Saturday morning Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I could draw them. You know, I liked Garfield comics, and I would draw them. And then somewhere around, like, 1991, I started buying my first comic books, and I was fascinated by it. When I got out of high school, I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design, go Bees, and
Where Sean Murphy went to, right?
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And I
Gotta name drop that again.
Yeah. Never actually met him. Never saw him there because he was a sequential art major. I was a film major. But I specifically chose that school because it was a fine arts degree and I was going to be required to take drawing, painting, color theory, composition, life drawing, all that fun stuff. So I did take those classes. I was, trained at an art school to do those things, but they were never what I was putting 100% of my attention into. And then I went and worked. I moved to LA and I worked in the film business for the better part of about 12 years. And I don't regret it, but in that time, it just took up so much of my time. I mean, you're working 15 hours a day if you're lucky, often more. And I'd come home and I'd have these ideas or stories that I wanted to write, and, go shoot a short film, and I would just go to sleep and get up and do it again all the next day. So I wasn't really, I wasn't drawing for the longest time.
Yeah, I think, was it our contest that made you actually pick up a pencil and you
Yes.
lied about your entry?
Yes, and if you want to
Yeah.
talk about the real early origins of 111 Press, I'll actually let Adam tell you that one. But it
Yeah.
started right here in this building because, well, for my part in it, I was living on the other side of town, and I'd been here like a month, and I hadn't come into this shop yet. So I finally made my way over here. I walk in, and Chicks was just so inviting, like, "Hey, come on into the shop. Do you need help finding anything? What are you into? Are you new here?" It was just kind of like, kind of made me feel welcome. So thank you for that. I've never actually said that. But yeah, then you had a drawing competition,
Yes.
and I actually did bring that today as a prop.
Yeah, and I gotta tell this to everyone because so he said that he took a class, so I'm thinking, well, yeah, he took a
yeah,
class.
you were mad at me. You
Yeah.
thought I had misrepresented myself.
Yes, and when he submitted his cover, so we had a drawing contest and a blank cover, variant cover, a comic book, and so they buy it and then they draw it and then they, that's their entry, and then so when me and my husband saw it, we're like, seriously, like this is the first place already. This is it, hands down, and then when I saw him, I said, "Are you sure you only took one class?" Because that's what he made it seem, but little did I know he went to school for it.
I also remember you had messaged me and asked me if this was an original composition or if it was
Yes.
based on something else.
Mhm.
And I knew that the subtext there was, did you copy this?
Yes,
And so
actually,
it's kind of like,
that
okay,
was
now
not
I gotta
me.
defend myself.
See, my husband said, "Can you ask him if this is something he copied or something?" Like, I'm like, okay, how would I put this in the words
Yeah.
without like, hey, degrading this
It's all
guy?
right, Drew.
And he's my customer, and I'm like, oh my god. So I sent him that, and obviously you won, and I guess that's how you guys got started.
Well, and then I think you told me that there was someone up here. Do you know Adam? I was like, no, I don't think so. And you're like, yeah, there's someone up here that wants to talk to you. And then we met at another one of your little get-togethers here at
Yep.
the shop. So and then you can take over the story from
Yeah.
there because I don't want to.
It was as soon as I saw that cover, originally what I actually asked him to do was to draw me a tattoo. That's what I really
Yes,
wanted.
I
still haven't
know.
gotten that tattoo.
No, I still have not gotten it, but I still have the original, so
Yeah.
therefore I'm still just as happy. But I saw it, and I saw that entire cover, and it's phenomenal. Like, it's one of the best pieces.
Was.
It was brilliant, and I know how many hours you put in, like, 3, 6, 7 minutes. No, he put in like 60 hours, guys. It's insane. But yeah, I saw the cover, and then I originally approached him about the tattoo, and then we were talking outside of a movie premiere that you actually held, and that was when I kind of dropped the ball on him, and I was like, hey, I want to do a press. And I was
Well,
like,
it started off, you said, hey, would you like to do a comic book? And I was
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah, that's true.
like, okay, yeah, one comic book. I got time in my schedule for that. I'll do one every now and then. And then, what was it, like 3 months later, I couldn't get a hold of you for the longest time. And then you were like, hey, man, how do you feel about starting a comic book company? And
First, it was a tattoo that he
yeah,
needed.
it was like
right?
one thing.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
comic book, and
it was
now
like
it's
a bigger
company.
thing. And then it was like,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to just do this all the time? And I was kind of like, I don't think I had an answer for you at the time.
no,
And that
but
was a little over a year ago.
It was
I think
over a
we've
year
been kind
ago.
of trying to figure out how to pull this thing together
We're
for a
gonna be
while.
2 years. Well, that's about 2 years. So 111 Press is about 2 years old.
Mhm.
Wow.
It's been a long
Are
road
we
to
having
get
a
to the
birthday
season.
party here? Because I like parties.
We kind of have an idea for something later next or early next year, but yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that one, yeah, that we have an idea for next year that we want to do for ourselves.
Yeah, I
but-
think it's one of those things like unless you look at like what day we paid for the business license, I don't know if you could really look at what day the company was like really pulled together. So we've settled on January 11th.
Mhm.
1/11.
Nice.
1/11
So
Yeah.
we're
Okay.
hoping between now and then, that's what, 6-7 months from now,
About, yeah.
we'll be able to kind of get some real momentum going and
Okay.
kind of have like a little.
We are invited, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Me
Everybody,
too. Me too.
Oh my God.
everybody.
So I need to talk to Adam now. So,
Yeah.
have you always like wanted to do your own company or just you start your own small press or what? I mean, how did this craziness come about? I mean,
It was honestly one of the craziest things I've ever thought about doing. Ultimately, I've been a nerd since birth. Like, I won't deny it. I've just been all about it. I grew up with comics. I grew up with the cartoon shows and everything. And I always wanted to do something in the industry one day, no matter how I got there. I mean, I would have been somebody's assistant at that point. Somewhere I always wanted to do something. And it's such... This industry is so tough to be in and get into, and there's not a lot of trade secrets. Like it's still very much capped off. So for me, that was my biggest thing. I was like, I just want to give people a shot, and then I met these two guys, and it just kind of fell into place. I was like, let's go. Like that was it at the end of it.
I think that's part of what's held us up just a little bit.
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
like, Jay already knows how to write. I already know how to draw. But how do you pull it all together?
Yes.
And also make sure that when we put something out there into the world, that it's protected.
I know you guys got through so much though just to get here to actually publish a sneak peek. But like I know there's a lot of sleepless nights and all of the phone calls and harassing people. But I gotta tell you guys, was it worth it though?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, overall, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been
Good.
phenomenal,
And,
honestly.
And I'm glad that people liked it.
To see people's reaction is just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we were sitting at a table 10 feet over that way, and there were people that just wanted to ask us questions.
Yeah.
To look at my sketchbook or, talk to us about what we want to do. And it was very rewarding.
Absolutely.
And, I would love to do that again. Like, I start to realize, like, I've been to a handful of conventions, but I'm always on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
And, I've seen people have really
does it make you feel good?
it did.
Wow.
It did. But it also made me really appreciate when they put out the sign that says like, hey, your favorite person that you've been waiting in line to see for 4 hours is going on a lunch break.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
I sat here for like 5 hours just fighting back. I
Yeah.
didn't want to say no to anybody. And
So, what would you advise, Jared, for anybody that's becoming a writer, wants to become a writer? What would you say to them? What would you advise them?
Just write, basically, and not just write and don't. If you want to get paid for this thing, you have to write even when you're not inspired. Period. That's the biggest thing because if you have a paycheck involved or any type of like deadline involved, you have to meet that deadline. Period. And of course, I've fallen back on that a couple of times because of that. Either I'm not inspired, work, life, whatever, understandable. But like, when it comes to this is a dream of mine, absolutely dream of mine, and like, I can't let me as a writer, my excuses, whatever they may be, get in the way of what I want to do. Period.
What would you advise anybody to how to begin drawing, how to get started?
It can get very frustrating when you start something and you realize, like, I don't like the way this looks, and you want to just rip up the page and, you know, go sit in front of the TV and do nothing and be frustrated, and that still happens to me. You got to fight through it. I think I was telling someone when we had the event here, get a sketchbook and just fill it every day. Put 30 minutes of work in there. Pick a page, say today I'm going to draw ears. On this page I'm going to draw eyeballs. On this page I'm going to draw cats. On this page I'm going to draw the tires on a car. On this page I'm going to draw trees. Just pick something that you think you might need work at and just work at it. And date it. You know, put the date on there and then look at it, do it again 3 months later and see if you've gotten better. But you can't not draw and expect to get better at it. And there are plenty of days where all I want to do is just, you know, watch some Netflix and, you know, do nothing. And I tell myself that's research and I'm looking for inspiration, and then 4 hours later I'm like, okay, I didn't do anything today. But you have to just draw. That's it.
And for Adam, what would you, for anybody that wants to, what would you advise them?
Honestly, I think that's been my whole thing ever since we talked about starting this, is that like my sole goal was to give back as much as I possibly could of what I've learned from everything. And so, you know, I'm always open. I'm going to be an open book, and I will tell you everything that I have learned and I know that is possible. The other things I may not know, I may not be able to give you an answer now, but hopefully in the next 6 months I can, because I'm still learning as we go.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it.
The biggest thing I can tell people is if you want to do this, one, protect your work. Like, that's one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
And two, just do something that you're passionate about. Don't just go write a story or draw a character just to throw it out there just to hope to hit it big. Do something that you're actually driven to do. Overall, I think the biggest thing that I would recommend people to do is just take your time and be patient too. That's the biggest thing, because man, there's a lot of times I wasn't. I'm not even gonna lie about that one. I'll own that, but man, it
Did
was
you have a
frustrating.
meltdown?
Oh, a few. Oh, absolutely. I think it was like 40 midlife crises in one day. So like, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Adam, let me ask you this. So are you open for anybody who's young writers or any writers out there, or artists even? How would they get a hold of you, and if they're interested in submitting their stuff?
If they're very much interested, they can absolutely go to our Instagram account and send it through there, or they can send it directly to me. Honestly, I'm open to reading anything and everything. This is one thing I will tell you. If I like it, it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away, because we are still setting our foundation, but it doesn't mean I won't read it, and I will respond. I try to really respond to everybody as best as I possibly can. But I definitely want to work with as many people as possible, just to give them a shot.
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course,
because
yeah.
it's important. You know, everybody, especially in this community, if you live in this valley, like, I definitely want to, you know, like, help you out, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can anyone find you, JR?
Oh, I have.
And we're gonna have your
yeah.
social media as well.
Yeah, my social media on here is at notgr42 on Instagram. Don't have the actual, I guess, professional Facebook or anything like that, but email will be on there as well. It's like jr42@gmail.com. That's my
Well, we also have the
business email.
The 111 email.
Yeah.
111
Which is a good one.
The
Ask one
company
too.
book, yeah.
There's like 4 people that have access to that, so someone's gonna see
Yeah,
it.
Okay.
which is cool. Oh, sorry, couldn't know. Which is cool because I already had a couple questions. A couple guys asked me, sent by email about writing stuff on it, so that was cool too.
Okay, great. And how did they get a hold of you besides having 111 Press? Are you accepting commissions? Anything that you want?
Yes.
And you know, I get a percentage.
I want to.
Yeah.
We've been trying to figure out how to go about like launching that, and, you know, whatever. It's also a question of time. Like right now, I'm putting everything I have into issue 1 because I want that to just, you know, be the best that I can.
Maybe in the future.
Oh yeah, I mean it's probably before the year is out, I'll be either working through you or our Instagram or whatever we can come up with to kind of put the word out that, yeah, I'll start doing some commissions and things like that. I think that was the end of my thought. I'm sorry,
Okay.
random.
And then Adam, how did they get a hold of you? You said 111 Press. Do you have a website? Does 111 Press have a website yet, or
I'm working on that right now.
Yeah.
That's that's on my things to do list. That's pretty long. But if you can go to the company Instagram, or if you want to find me and message me directly, you can go to anime_Syntis, and I will absolutely respond. Give me at least like 48 hours though, because sometimes I will forget. So.
All right, you guys. I think that's all we've got today, and you guys got me out of retirement, obviously. Look out for 111 Press, and they have Instagram. You have Twitter, Facebook.
No, I haven't done it yet.
Just Instagram. Just Instagram.
We like pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Andrew Yeager and Adam Sintas and JR.
Kapkungan,
Thank you, JR. I'm so sorry. Yes.
even though you're Filipino.
I know. 111 Press. Look out for them, and their comic book will be launching like what?
Fall season.
Fall.
Fall season.
It's yet to be announced. Watch out for our social media posts. All right, you guys. Thanks. Chicks here. Bye.
See you guys later.